What's going on, guys? This is Luke here for SimBoxx, and I'm delighted today to be joined by the three-time British champion, current European middleweight champion, Mr. Denzel Bentley. Denzel, how are we doing?
I'm all good, thanks, man. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. It's always a pleasure to catch up, and yeah, I've been looking forward to get you back on camera. It's been a little while since we've caught up, and what can only be described as a successful 2024 for yourself. Just before we go into each individual fight, just surmise how you're feeling at the start of 2025, looking back on what you achieved last year.
Yeah, I think I had a good year. An active year, some good performances, and I think it's put me right back into position for some big fights. So I'm happy with how the year's gone. I just, want to continue that kind of form I'm on this year.
Absolutely. And, just looking back at, say, if we was in January 2024 and you was coming off that loss to Nathan Heaney, where was the mindset of Denzel Bentley at that point before you went on this great run of three fights and three wins?
Mindset was all over the place. It was like, can I be asked to do this again? Can I be asked to climb back? How long is it going to take? What do I need? It was like, okay, cool. I need a solid fight straight away to get back. I don't want no warm up fights because I could have come back and had an 8 rounder or whatever, and then it would have just prolonged my progression to this point now. So I wanted a solid fight, straight off the blocks when I got back. If it wasn't going to be a solid fight, I wouldn't have been motivated to do it. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, so the first of those three fights was the fight with Danny Dignam, a fight that you won by TKO in the second round. And I think we've spoke about this before, Denzel, that sometimes you kind of not in between world level and domestic level, but like when you step back from world level into the domestic scene, you kind of show your levels. And I think with the stoppage wins over Danny Dignam and Derek Aziz, with all due respect to those guys, great fighters in their own right, it really shown where your level is and that you're above that domestic scene.
Yeah, most definitely, man, most definitely, and just to the work I put in as well. Do you know what I mean? I put a lot of work for those camps, for all three of the camps, but especially those two because you know they were more like proving a point type fights. Do you know what I'm saying? So putting a lot of work, and just starting to like think and listen more. Like sometimes you're in the fight and then you go off what you feel, and that's not a bad thing, but you could end up coming away from what you worked on, just kind of doing things to because you feed your ego, like, oh, okay, you caught me, I'm gonna step on you now, things like that. Whereas, especially in the pool fight, I showed a lot of patience even when he was coming back, and I was just scared again. But yeah, those two fights were very explosive.
Yeah, now with Brad Pauls, I think that was almost like the perfect swan song to the year. The fact that it was the British title, the European title, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
another edition of that Magnificent Seven series. What is great from Queensbury, but the fact that you lost to Nathan Heaney at the back end of 2023, and then it almost come full circle that you're back on a Magnificent Seven card again, and you went in and got a win and picked up those straps again.
Yeah, I think it just kind of shows my character and what I really want to do in the sport because there ain't a lot of people that will come off a loss and go back into those type of free fights, especially at this level. I mean, if you're at world level earning big bucks, you do whatever because it's about money now. It's about the you're earning. Okay, it's making money. I do it. Whereas I could have went through a rebuild phase and started, got back into a round, filled myself out, and then I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get right back into position. So, where I left off in 2023 or what I lost in 2023, I picked back up, and that's why I've left off 2024, and now 2025 we move on to what we should have been doing in 2024. So you could say it's all the year behind. You could say it's right timing, isn't it? I believe everything's in God's timing, and I feel I'm much better fighter now than I did last year or the year before. I feel better with myself. I'm mentally, I'm in a different space. I'm listening more. I'm trying new things, and you know, I just feel like I'm an all round better fighter.
Definitely, and it's good that you can see and take the positives from the experience. In terms of we're gonna say what's ahead in 2025, but although it might not make necessarily sense at the moment, but is there a desire within Denzel Bentley to get a rematch with Nathan Heaney and kind of right that wrong? Is there a desire there for that?
Just for my ego, just for my ego. But I mean, he's in a position where I'll be bringing him back right now, like let him figure himself out and get back and just make it make sense. Otherwise, I'm just feeding my ego really, where I'm at a point in my career where I'm moving forward. It's the same thing with Felix Cash. I do want to avenge that loss, but where is he? What's he doing? How does it benefit me apart from just getting that win back? It's probably similar to like Luke Campbell boxing Mendy.
Hmm.
He lost to Mendy earlier, and he's come back round when Mendy was really nothing. And then he rematched him and beat him. But for his ego, yeah, cool, he avenged that loss. But didn't really mean anything. It was no one really thought, oh yeah, he avenged that, and no one really took notice of that fight because of where Ivan Mendy was at that point. So, is there a point? Am I wasting time just going back round in circles? I mean, look, if they're doing well and they're progressing and they're moving up in the rankings, and I feel like okay, cool, this makes sense. We're both at a certain level where it's worth both our times, not just me putting everything on the line. I've done that once already with Heaney. I didn't need to fight him. I put everything on the line, despite what was going on in my life. I just felt like I'll get on with it, and then he made a career out of it, and I feel like I don't want. I'm in a position where now where I deserve to gain from whatever I do, rather than just risk everything I have. So yeah, I want to start gaining.
Interesting, of course. And in terms of gaining, you've got that British title, you've got the European title, so logically it's got to be world titles next. And I don't know if you can shed some light on the situation with the WBO. I know you've been chasing that rematch with Janibek, but have I heard whispers that he could be potentially vacating that belt, or is that just social media talk?
It's social media talk. I mean, nothing's come from Janibek's mouth. I mean, I saw videos of him and Hamza shaking hands, saying, "Oh, if you win, he wins. They'll unify." So I haven't heard anything from Janibek saying he looks to vacate. He's someone that he wants to compete at this weight class and clean up and become undisputed. It'll be a tougher challenge at super middle for him, so he wants to try to do it at middle. But listen, who knows and who cares? I mean, I'm just waiting to be called mandatory. Whatever Janibek does is what he does. If he fights me, more than happy. If he doesn't, I still get my shot. So it's none of my business what he does, to be honest.
Absolutely. So as much as it's none of your business, again, it goes back to that same conversation about Felix Cash and Nathan Heener, that there's almost wanting to get it back in blood against Shannon Beck as well, because it was such a great performance from yourself and it was short notice, and with the right game plan and the right time frame beforehand, I'm sure you're more than confident going there and getting a win against, let's be honest, Shannon Beck's been a bit of a fair operator at middleweight, hasn't he? So it's only yourself that's really gone in there and really put it on him.
Yeah, he has. I mean, look, he's seen everyone, put in front of him. I'm the only one that's pushed him to that point. Like you said, without a proper game plan, without even any ambitions of fighting him at that point. I also do someone I would fight, but at that point, it just came to a point where, all right, cool. I'm in my fighting, Morrison at the time. I still defending my British title. Now I'm in a different position, number one with the WBO, just waiting on the mandatory position to be called. Like I said, I feel like I'm a much improved fighter, much better fighter, mentally and physically. And I'm a little bit more experienced than I was at the time where I fought him. So it would definitely be a different fight, and a fight I believe I can win this time around.
Absolutely. I'm sure from a Queensbury point of view, a Frank Warren point of view, in a dream world for him, he'd love to see Hamza Shiraz get the win against Carlos Adames on February 22nd, get you in there with Yanni Beck. Fingers crossed you was to get the win there. And I know I'm jumping a lot of hoops here, but then from Frank Warren's point of view, Denzel Bentley, Hamza Shiraz unification fight would be the end goal for the middleweight division, surely.
Yeah, I mean, look, it all sounds like, but like you said, promoter's dream, and my dream is just to win, a version of a world title. Whatever happens after that is a bonus, really. So I just got to focus on, my position and not just think too wild and let my thoughts take me. Oh, imagine this and imagine that, because you can imagine all you want, and until it happens, it's not happening. So I got to, with my version of a world title, and like I said, whatever happens after that is a bonus for me.
So what's looking most likely to be next for Denzel Bentley as we sit here today?
I listen. I don't know. Hoping to be at around April times. I think it'll be a defense of the European, because I have to wait for a mandatory call up. Otherwise, it will be a voluntary defense, which I don't think they're too keen on doing. So, I think with the WO where Hamza was mandatory and he's pulled out, I'm sure. I'm not sure, but I think the WO may allow Janabet to get another voluntary defense before me become a mandatory. The mandatory. So I just got to just wait to see how it unfolds. But until then, I do not want to be inactive waiting for an opportunity. I do want to be active, and if I got it from a European, then I'll do that.
It's a great mindset to have. Now, I know with Hamza Shiraz, it's been rumored about you guys potentially fighting, so I'm not going to go into that too much. I know you're tired of it, but talk to me about the actual fight between Hamza Shiraz and Carlos Adames from the outside looking in. Like, what do you make of that fight?
It's a good fight, man. It's a good fight, and it just depends on they're both good fighters, and depends on who just gets off what they're doing best. I mean, Adames, I know Hamza's been fighting a lot of southpaws in hopes to fight Adamas because he's a southpaw, but he switches too. He fights right-handed too, so he might just come out and fight right-handed, and then it kind of takes away from what you prepared for. But either way, Hamza's good enough to handle himself in there, and Carlos Adamas he's dangerous. He's a dangerous guy. I think the last fight I watched of him was against Junior Williams, and he dismantled him. So he's a dangerous fighter, but yeah, Hamza's good enough to handle himself in there.
With Carlos Adames, he's almost like slept on a little bit in that middleweight division, isn't he? Because there was so much talk around the WBO situation, and there's no one really taking the division by the scruff of the neck and running away with it. You know, the way Canelo did it at super middleweight, or the way Terrence Crawford did it welterweight. It's wide open there, and I think Carlos Adames has kind of slowly crept onto the scene. He's picked up this WBC title. He's got some good wins under his belt, and this, as much as this is Hamza Shiraz's first world title shot, this is almost like a coming out party for Adames as well.
Yeah, this is his chance to showcase his skills and be on a massive platform. I mean, he hasn't had the opportunity. He's been on the PBC side of things. You know, PBC is just pretty much just everything's just in house, so he hasn't really been exposed to the world like that. Promoter wise, he hasn't got a promoter that's pushing him, that's selling him to anyone. So if you're not interested in boxing, you wouldn't know. He doesn't speak English, and he's not a big talker, from what I know. I don't know, maybe he is, but from what I've seen, so I don't see him getting mad and trying to cause havoc or cause noise and chase certain fights. But obviously, probably ultimately, like not speaking English is probably his downfall, because no one's paying attention to him because they don't understand. I'm saying, what he's saying. And if he had a promoter, like for example, Canelo didn't speak English in the first half of his career, but he had a promoter that was pushing him in everyone's faces and making him be seen, so he became a superstar off the back of that. Adams hasn't got that, so if he can come out and if if he can come out and you know do his thing and be explosive and have a good performance, then yeah, he will show the world who he is, especially against someone like Hamza Shiraz with a quite decent profile.
Absolutely, and that's part of a February 22nd card as well, which is everyone's saying it's the best card certainly of our lifetimes. And is there a
Yeah.
particular fight on that? I know you're a middleweight, so you might be drawn to the middleweight fight, but is there a fight on there in particular that stands out to you, Denzel? Is that's the one I want to see on the Feb 22nd Riyadh season
It's a
card?
great card, man. I want to see all of them. Yeah, it's a great card. I mean, every fight is intriguing. I mean, every single one of those fights, if they were headlined on its own, I'd be going to.
Yeah.
So there isn't anything more than the other that I want to see. I mean, we're just privileged to be getting all of that on one night. So I'm saying, so yeah, yeah, it'd be a good card.
There's something I wanted to get you to expand on. It's only something I just remembered now. Is I seen a tweet of yours. I don't know if it was yesterday, saying that the commentary for some of your fights, you wasn't too pleased with that. Like, you all right to expand on
Yeah,
that?
I don't know. I just feel like maybe I'm just looking too much into it, or maybe I want a bit too much praise. I don't know how everyone else sees it. So it's kind of like a question I was asking. Am I bugging? I just feel like every time I do something, it's like I get a bit of praise and they pick up my opponent. Oh yeah, but don't be like don't forget about this. Don't overlook, or yeah, this guy's still dangerous. Like, I'm doing the work. Just
Was
pick up
that the
what I'm
Paul's
doing. You know
fight?
what I'm saying?
Was that the Paul's fight in
A
particular?
lot of fights. I mean,
Yeah.
when I fought Linus, when I fought Pauls, when I fought Heffron, um, probably to an extent, even when I fought Morrison in the first round.
Mm.
I mean, Morrison in the first round, I think he hit me with one or two shots, and it was like he won the round off of just one or two shots at the end of the round. I was like, how? How many shots did I throw? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter anyway, because if I get a decision, I get a decision. But I just feel like sometimes commentary is probably a little bit biased against me, but maybe I'm just looking too deep into it.
Okay, I'll certainly keep an eye out for
Maybe.
that in your next fight. But just away from yourself, Denzel, I can't not get your opinion on today's kind of semi-announcement that Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is somewhat signed. We've not got an official date. It's looking like it's going to be April in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Um,
Okay.
we spoke about this a little bit before in the past, but now it's officially signed. Are you on the side of it's going to happen, so I'm going to watch it, or no, I'm dead against it. There's weight classes for a reason.
No, no, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. Listen, how many times through history have boxers moved up and down weight classes and done what they've done? But obviously, they're real fighters. It's not like a misfits, or I know I've called it that, but it's not like a YouTube fight, whatever. You know what I'm going to say. But I'm just happy it's done now. I mean, I was getting tired of all the back and forth and the whole whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it, but just the whole theatrics around it. It was getting a bit boring. But I'm happy it's on now. Finally get to see them fight, and we can move on from it. I will go and watch. I'll probably go there live to watch it, especially if it has a good card. And yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just happy it's done, and we ain't got to see too much of the theatrics anymore.
I mean, if it's looking like it's going to be April and you was looking at getting out in April, could we not see a European middleweight title defense on the undercard?
Listen, I'd love to, man. If the decision was mine, I'd be on there. But unfortunately, the decision isn't mine. All I can do is ask and push and see, what we can do and wait for answers. So that's what I'll be doing. But either way, I'll be getting ready for April.
Absolutely. Now, another big announcement that came in recent days was Tyson Fury again announcing his latest retirement. I think some people are taking this one a bit more serious, given that he's reached the pinnacle of the sport. He's took those two losses, and other than a cash out with Anthony Joshua, there doesn't really seem to be anything left for the Gypsy King. Where are you sitting on this, Denzel? Do you think we've seen the last of Tyson Fury?
I don't know. I mean, if we have, then congrats to him on his career, and if we haven't, then just another Fast and Furious. But I think where he's at that age of retirement, and he's probably been flirting with retirement for a little bit. I'm not surprised, but it's a bit odd that he would do that right at the point where the AJ fight is closer than ever. I don't really think he's too keen on fighting AJ. I don't know why. I don't think he feels like he would lose, but he just doesn't want to fight AJ. Probably just wants to leave AJ in the midst of haha, you can't get me kind of thing. And I was a better heavyweight than you, and you can't prove you wasn't, whatever. But they both lost to the greatest heavyweight of our generation, so which is Usyk. AJ's taken a few more losses, but he has fought a few more names. Fury probably fought the two or three best heavyweights in our division, including Wilder and Klitschko. And Usyk, AJ hasn't fought Wilder, and probably not fair for him to fight Wilder now because Wilder's not the Wilder we knew. He has fought Klitschko, but he has fought, a few more top 10 names than Fury, so he's entitled to, have a few more losses or whatever. But listen, if he retires, look, good luck to him, man. Like I said, I'm not really interested in all the hype of boxing no more. I just want to see fights. Like, I'm not interested in what's going on outside of, oh, he said this, he said that, oh, he said he retired. And, yeah, listen, if you retire, good luck, brother.
Fair point. Now, just touching on Anthony Joshua there, and just because you mentioned the names. Now, in the moment, we can see that Anthony Joshua is, he's made a truckload of money. He's headlined at Wembley and Cardiff and all around the world. But say if we're sat 10 years from now, Denzel, and we're somewhere retired on a beach somewhere, and we're looking back on Anthony Joshua's career, and he hasn't fought Deontay Wilder, and he hasn't fought Tyson Fury, and they fought each other, regardless of everything else he achieved. Do you think that'll be a knock on his career in hindsight? Maybe not so much now, but in years to come?
It won't be a knock on his career, but he might feel like he wished he fought the two of them. And being honest, hand on heart, I don't think it's entirely his fault as to why
Agreed.
neither of them, why he hasn't fought neither of them. I'm not blaming anyone, but I think I blame the teams more than anything. I think their teams blocked those fights for him. Where AJ was such a big commodity and a big factor of the Matchroom brand, they didn't want him fighting off of that, whatever channel it was at the time, or outside of a Matchroom promotion, because they want things in their favor. If it's a Matchroom promotion for AJ, they can have things in their favor. Okay, we want this. We want that. If they're going across the road to someone else's promotion, they've got to abide by their rules. And he has such a big profile. The team probably didn't feel like he needed to do that. And obviously the ego of Wilder and his team, obviously they wanted things on their terms. They'd never fought outside of, the Showtime or PBC banner before, and they wanted things on their terms, come to America and do this and that. So the egos of the teams blocked that fight. Fury was in a much different place. He was co-promoted by Top Rank. So he was due to fight in America anyway, and he probably just, let me go. He wasn't he's a big profile, but he wasn't as a big asset to Queensberry or Top Rank at that point than AJ was with Matchroom, being there his whole career and building that kind of thing together, like building Matchroom and AJ at the same. They both came up at the same time, really, because Eddie Hearn and that just came back around that time. So they felt like that was too much of a big of an asset to just let go on another promotion and not get what they felt like they deserved for that fight. And then with the Fury thing, I don't know. I just feel like it was okay. At one point, the case with Wilder and Fury for the third fight got in the way. But other than that, at one point, I felt like it was Fury playing a lot of mind games, trying to take away the confidence of AJ by making him feel like he's not the A side. And it was like, accept this or we're not fighting. Accept 60-40. Let me get paid more than you. Let me be the home fighter. Let me be the this, that. Or we're not fighting. And then AJ's ego must have been like, who does this guy think he is? That's like I'm I'm gonna bring in generate more money or whatever. So it's just egos rather than fear of losing or fear of fighting each other. It's just like who's gonna basically take the hit and be the lesser of the two on the night kind of thing. But it could have been a 50-50. One comes in first, the other announced second. It could have worked out, but egos block that more than anything. I don't think it will hinder any of their careers, but to them it might, 10 years later, I wish I fought that guy, I would have beat him up, whatever.
Yeah, I think that could fall under an umbrella of fights that we're going to group together, aren't we, over these next coming years? Like looking back and think if Turkey Al Sheikh had got involved earlier, we would have seen a
Mm,
Joshua Fury, we would have seen a Joshua Wilder because the egos get took out of it when you add another couple of zeros to the end of the paycheck.
that's it. And when someone else is in charge, willing to just pay everyone for their time, you don't have to fork out any money and do anything, and you're getting paid. So you know what? Let's just sit back and relax. All these TV channels will work together. They'll all put it on, and we ain't got to do too much because Turkey's coming and putting his hands in his pockets and making everyone happy. So yeah,
Absolutely. And speaking of these Riyadh season fights, the last thing I want to speak to you about is the rumor of Canelo and Crawford. Where do you sit on that one as well as one of these other fantasy cross weight division super
I
fights?
think I think it's more than likely happening, especially when I saw Canelo at the Ring Magazine event, and I think Crawford flew in the next day. I think there's a deal happening somewhere. They think they're gonna come to an agreement. But yeah, man, good fight, man. And if Crawford can do it, then he's an all-time great in my book because Canelo's an all-time great. And to be honest, Crawford is himself. But if he can beat Canelo, it will be a madness. But there's more to gain for Crawford than there is for Canelo. So I can understand why Canelo wasn't too interested in the first place. But if he's getting paid what he asked for, then everyone's happy in it. But, yeah.
Now, I won't push you for predictions on the fights just yet because I think we'll do prediction pieces nearer the time and I'll give you a shout for that. But what I will ask is, do you give Crawford more of a chance of beating Canelo than you would Conor Benn beating Chris Eubank? Of the
Yeah,
two smaller men, who's got the most likely chance of winning?
that's a good question. I just got Conor Ben beating you. That's a good fucking question. That's a good question. Um, I don't know.
I never thought I'd get Denzel Bentley lost for words.
I actually don't know.
Because I think it's fair to say Crawford and Conor Benn are going to go in as slight underdogs, you'd say, as this smaller man, maybe.
They're going to be at disadvantage in it, the two of them, because they're
Yeah.
coming in as smaller men in it.
They're both underdogs going in.
But then I'm obviously you like can't compare the talents,
Yeah.
but uh, it's hard, man, because obviously Conor Ben's not as good as Crawford, but Chris Eubank's definitely not
Yeah, exactly.
as good
That's
as
why
Canelo. Do you know what I mean?
it's an
So
interesting
I'm trying to
debate.
think like, what kind of chances did they have? Because Crawford, I'll be honest, when the first fight first got put, I didn't like it for Crawford. I just felt like Canelo's too big and this and that, but he fancies himself, and if he's confident, then yeah, I mean, I'm a big Crawford fan, so if Crawford with it, I'm with it, kind of thing. So, um, and listen, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. But listen, Conor Benn's got a good chance of beating Chris Eubank. It just depends how Chris Eubank's taking the fight, how
Mhm.
serious he's taking it, and what Conor Ben's looked like recently being inactive and having to, deal with all the troubles he's dealt with and how he's going to come back. I mean, for this to be, I know he's boxed about and done boxing in America and stuff, but for this to be your first fight back coming off of that case, there must have been a lot of zeros on the end of that contract because you'd want at least one fight to clear the dust and then go again, but probably too good to say no to the money in it. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, good, both good fights.
Definitely. And just swinging things back to yourself, Denzel, to close out, if we can have like some sort of mystic ball, how would Denzel Bentley play out a perfect 2025 if two or three fights? What does a perfect year look like?
Yes, win a world title by the end of it. Win a world title by the end of it. Yeah,
Be all and end all.
that's it.
Denzel, it's always a pleasure catching up, guys. I appreciate you watching my interview today with Denzel Bentley. Make sure you check us both out on social media. Make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button, and we'll be back with another interview. Denzel, thanks for your time.
Yes, thank you, bro.